Witch's Rage Series 3. Part 1. I feel nothing spiritually. You know how often people come to me with this line.
Witch, I feel nothing. I think I we lost my spiritual connection.
No matter how much I meditate, no matter how many rituals I do, there's just nothing. It's like the line went dead. And they say this with such despair, like the gods have packed their bags and abandoned them. And every time, I want to shake them and yell, no, spirit didn't hang up on you.
You hung up on spirit. People love to dramatize spiritual disconnection.
They act as if the universe has turned its back on them. But let's be brutally honest, most of the time, it's not that spirit left you, it's that you left yourself. I look at these so-called disconnected people, and what do I see?
Zombies.
Walking corpses with Wi-Fi but no soul signal. They spend 12 hours scrolling, drowning in other people's noise. They eat food that's basically plastic, they sleep at 3 a.m., they wake up exhausted, and then they say, "Witch, I think I can't feel energy anymore." Of course you can't. You're not even present in your own body. You've been offline for months. Let me give you an example. A young man came to me, convinced he was spiritually cursed. I feel nothing, he said.
No dreams, no energy, no visions.
So I asked him about his daily life.
Guess what?
He worked until midnight, ate instant noodles for every meal, played video games until dawn, and hadn't cleaned his apartment in 6 months. And he wanted to know why his soul felt silent. I told him, you're not disconnected from spirit.
Jure just burit under your Angabage. This is the uncomfortable truth.
Spiritual disconnection is rarely spiritual. It's lifestyle. Your body is the temple of your spirit.
If your temple is collapsing, the priest can't give sermons.
If your nervous system is fried, no amount of chanting will make the channel clear. It's like blaming your phone company when you're the one who smashed the phone and turned off the Wi-Fi. But here's what makes me rage. People romanticize their numbness. They call it a spiritual dark night. Listen, there's a difference between a true dark night of the soul and the fact that you just binge-watched Netflix until 4 a.m. and now your nervous system is fried. One is a sacred process of transformation. The other is sleep deprivation.
Don't confuse the two.
I once had a woman tell me, I think I'm going through a spiritual void.
Everything feels empty.
When I asked her how often she meditates or reflects in silence, she said, "Oh, I don't have time. I'm too busy with TikTok." That's not a void. That's avoidance. And here's another pattern. People come crying, "I've been abandoned by spirit." But when I look, spirit is screaming everywhere, in signs, in synchronicities, in their own body signals. But they ignore it all. They only notice when spirit has to slam them with a dream, or an illness, or a breakdown. It's not abandonment.
It's escalation.
Spirit tried whispering, but you refused to listen. So now it's shouting.
The truth is,
you are never disconnected.
You are never abandoned.
But you can bury your awareness so deep that you feel like you are. And when you bury yourself in noise, in distraction, in numbing habits, spirit isn't gone. It's just muffled, screaming from behind 20 locked doors.
So let Emil ask you.
When was the last time you sat in silence for more than 5 minutes without grabbing your phone? When was the last time you breathed deeply, actually felt your heartbeat, felt your body? When was the last time you did something alive, walked in nature, sang, cried, laughed without a screen in front of you? If you can't answer, then don't tell me you're spiritually disconnected.
Tell me the truth. You disconnected yourself. Tats why irage.
Because people blame the universe, blame their guides, blame gods, blame anything except their own habits. But spirit has been consistent since the beginning of time.
The sun rises, the moon shifts, the tides flow, energy moves. It doesn't vanish just for you.
If you can't feel it, it's because you've numbed yourself into silence. And here's the final kick for part 1. Spiritual numbness is not your punishment. It's your mirror. It shows you exactly how little you've been living. It's not that spirit turned off the light. It's that you closed your eyes, locked yourself in a basement, and then complained it was dark.
Witch's Ragequote.
It's not that spirit disconnected from you. It's that you've been living so numb that you disconnected from yourself.
Witches Rage Series 3. Part 2. Walking Yourself Back Online.
Last time, I raged about people whining, I feel nothing spiritually, when the truth is, they've been living like zombies. Spirit didn't abandon them. They abandoned themselves. But today, let's talk about the real question. How do you thaw yourself out? How do you come back online? Because no matter how numb you've become, the line to spirit is still there. It's not broken. It's waiting for you to pick up again.
Step 1. Bring your body back to life.
Everyone wants the mystical shortcut. They want visions, downloads, cosmic fireworks. But the first step is painfully ordinary. Fix your body.
I know, it doesn't sound sexy.
But your body is the vessel. If the vessel is cracked, no water stays. If the temple is collapsing, no priest can preach. Start with sleep. Stop romanticizing exhaustion. Sleep is not laziness, it's spiritual hygiene. Then breathe. I mean actually breathe. Not shallow chest gasps while you scroll your phone, but deep, conscious breaths that remind your nervous system it's alive. Finally, clean your damn space. Spirit does not want to sit with you in a trash heap. When people come to me saying, I can't feel anything, and I tell them, go to bed earlier, drink water, clean your room, they roll their eyes. They think it's too simple. But the truth is, until your body is stable, no ritual, no mantra, no magic will land.
Step 2. Give your mind silence.
Most of you have cluttered your minds so full of noise that spirit couldn't get through if it screamed. You want to hear guidance, but your brain is a marketplace. Ads, gossip, notifications, endless chatter.
So start small. 10 minutes a day.
Put down the phone.
Turn off the music. Sit in silence.
I know what you'll say, but which I don't feel anything. Good. That's the point. Because silence isn't about immediately hearing angels sing. It's about detoxing your mind. It's about proving to yourself you can sit without distraction. At first, you'll itch. You'll want to run.
You'll convince yourself nothing is happening.
But in that emptiness, the space begins to clear. And slowly, Spirit's voice, quiet, steady, can finally come through. Step 3. Stop romanticizing numbness.
Some of you love calling your disconnection a dark night of the soul. It sounds dramatic.
It makes you feel special. But let's be blunt. Most of the time, you're not in a sacred void, you're just burnt out.
A real dark night is sacred suffering.
It's when you've been pursuing truth so fiercely that life strips you bare to rebuild you. That is holy. But most of what I see, it's people scrolling until 3 a.m., ignoring their body, ignoring their truth, then calling their numbness spiritual. Stop turning your avoidance into a badge. You're not a martyr, you're just asleep. Step 4. Engage with life. Spirituality isn't about escaping life. It's about engaging with it fully.
If you feel numb, stop waiting for visions.
Go live. Cook yourself a meal with care.
Walk barefoot in the grass.
Call someone you love and actually listen. Dance to music without caring how you look.
Sehe wen the tears come. Lauk wen the joy rises.
Do something that reminds you, I am alive. Because the moment you allow yourself to live, spirit rushes back in. Step 5. Watch for the small signs.
Everione vans grand revelations. Te vant booming voice and lichtning visions.
But reconnection often begins with whispers.
Maybe you suddenly feel calm for no reason. Maybe a song comes on at the right time. Maybe a stranger smiles at you and your heart softens.
These are not coincidences. They are spirit's first nudges, reminding you, I never left. You just forgot to look.
Let me tell you a story.
I once had a client who said she was spiritually dead. She cried, which I think my guides left me.
I feel nothing.
I told her to start simple. Go to bed before midnight, drink water, write down 3 things she noticed each day. She thought it was ridiculous. But she did it. And weeks later, she came back glowing. She said, which, I had the most vivid dream. My grandmother appeared and hugged me. And when I woke up, I actually felt peace. And I told her, Your guides didn't leave. You just finally created enough space to hear them. So here's the truth I want burned into you. You are never disconnected. You are only distracted. The line to spirit is eternal. It cannot be broken, but you can drown it in noise, numb it with avoidance, bury it under endless clutter.
And when you do, it feels like silence.
But silence is not absence, it's waiting. The question isn't, has spirit abandoned me? The question is, am I willing to wake up and listen? So if you feel numb right now, don't despair.
Don't declare yourself cursed.
Don't wallow in the drama of I've been forsaken.
Just take a breath. Clean a corner of your life. Sit in silence.
Choose one action that makes you feel alive again. Because the moment you do, you'll realize the connection was there all along.
Witchsragequote. Spirit never hangs up the phone.
You're the one who muted the call.
Unmute yourself, and the line is still alive.
Witches Rage Series 3 to 9. Part 1. I dreamed of a god, it must be a blessing. How many times have I heard this one? Someone runs up to me, wide-eyed, glowing, almost trembling with excitement, and says, "Witch,
last night I dreamed of a god."
The god looked right at me, spoke to me. Does this mean I'm special? Am I chosen? Is this proof of my spiritual awakening? And I just sigh, because people always assume dreams of gods are medals of honor. They think spirit just handed them a golden ticket to enlightenment. But let me give you the brutal truth. Dreams of gods are not blessings. They are warnings. See, people love to romanticize their dreams. They post online, "I dreamed of a divine being. Surely it means I've been recognized." And the comments explode. "Wow, you're so chosen. You must have a sacred mission."
You're closer to ascension than the rest of us.
And then what? The next morning, those same people are still late for work, still gossiping about their co-workers, still numbing themselves with distractions. So what exactly did that dream change? Nothing.
Tatsächlich irage.
Because dreams are not spiritual trophies. Dreams are spirit's emergency alarms. If the divine has to break into your sleep, it's because you refused to listen while awake.
Let me tell you a story. A woman also came to me, proudly describing a recurring dream.
In her dream, she was kneeling before a god, radiant light all around. The god looked stern but silent. She thought this was a blessing, that she had been invited into some holy presence. But when I scanned her energy, I saw the truth. This wasn't a gift. It was a warning. Why? Because in her waking life, she ignored every signal. Her health was failing, her relationships collapsing, her habits toxic. Spirit had tried to whisper through synchronicities, through conversations, through gut feelings, but she blocked it all. So the divine had no choice left but to storm her dreams and say, "Pay attention." The stern look in her dream wasn't admiration. It was disappointment. That's the uncomfortable truth. If gods appear in your dreams, it often means you've gone deaf while awake. You wouldn't listen to whispers, so they had to shout in your sleep. And yet, instead of reflecting, people inflate their egos. They brag. "I saw a god in my dream, so I must be chosen." Chosen for what? To finally notice your own mess? Here's the thing about dreams. They don't lie, but we do.
We twist them into what our ego wants.
If you're desperate to feel special, you'll call every divine figure in your dream a stamp of approval. If you're desperate for love, you'll dream of a soulmate and call it prophecy. But often, dreams are mirrors, showing you exactly what you've been ignoring. The question isn't, who did I see in my dream? The question is, why did Spirit have to use my dream at all? Think about it.
Dreams are the last resort.
Spirit always tries the simple way first. Nudges, signs, inner voices. But if you drown those out, Spirit waits until you're unconscious, when your ego defenses are down, and slips through. It's not a compliment.
It's desperation. And here is what infuriates me most.
People cling to dreams instead of living awake. They want to collect dreams like spiritual
souvenirs.
They say, "I had a vision of light." and then do nothing different the next day. Dreams become their entertainment instead of their transformation. But spirit doesn't care about your entertainment.
Spirit cares about your evolution. So here is my message for part 1.
Dreams of gods are not blessings. They are warnings. They are reminders that you've ignored reality for too long. The real question is not what did I see, but what have I been avoiding that spirit had to scream at me in my sleep?
Witchsragequote. Dreams of gods don't mean Jurekosen.
They mean you've been stubborn. Spirit had to invade your sleep because you refused to listen while awake. Witches Rage Series number 09. Part 2. Dreams are not medals, they're alarms. Last time, I told you the hard truth. If gods show up in your dreams, it's not because you're chosen. It's because you've been stubborn. You ignored the whispers of spirit in waking life, so they had to invade your sleep. So the question now is, what do you do with it? How do you tell the difference between divine guidance and your brain running Netflix while you're asleep? How do you bring the message back into your waking life so it actually matters? Rule 1. Stop romanticizing your dreams. Not every dream is prophecy. Not every image is sacred. And not every glowing figure is the divine. Most of the time, dreams reflect your subconscious. They're mirrors, not medals. I've seen people dream of gods, then turn it into a bragging right. I must be so advanced, the divine visits me personally. And I just want to laugh. Because often, it means the opposite. You've been so disconnected, they had to shout. If a god looks stern in your dream, it's not pride. It's warning. If you wake up shaken, that's not exaltation, it's alarm bells. Rule 2. Focus on the feeling, not the symbols. Everyone gets obsessed with the scenery. I saw a temple.
I SAV a Throne. I SAV Lichtning in the sky.
But spirit doesn't care about your cinematography. Spirit cares about the emotion the dream left you with.
Did you feel fear?
Then ask yourself, what truth have I been running from?
Did you feel sadness?
Then ask, what grief am I refusing to face?
Did you feel peace?
Then maybe spirit is reminding you to rest, to trust, to slow down. Dreams are emotional telegrams.
Ignore the costumes, decode the feeling. Rule 3. Translate dreams into action.
This is where most people fail. They wake up, write their dream in a journal, brag online, then nothing. Dreams are not collectibles. They are assignments. If a god tells you to take responsibility, then do it. If the dream leaves you with the sense of urgency, stop procrastinating. If it shows you chaos, clean up your life. Otherwise, you're just treating your dreams like spiritual Instagram posts.
Let me tell you a story. A man also came to Emil, terrified.
He kept dreaming of fire, of gods turning their backs on him. He thought he was cursed. But when I looked deeper, the truth was simple. He was drinking himself numb every night, destroying his health, ignoring every wake-up call. His dream wasn't a curse. It was his body and spirit teaming up to scream, change, or you'll burn yourself down. The message wasn't mystical. It was obvious. He just didn't want to face it while awake. Rule 4. Watch out for false signals. Not every dream voice is spirit. Sometimes it's just your ego dressing up. I've seen people dream of being embraced and instantly decide, that must be my twin flame. Then they run back into toxic relationships, calling it sacred karma. No, that wasn't spirit. That was your craving for validation, projected into dream form. Real divine dreams usually feel clear, sober, sometimes even stern.
They don't inflate your ego.
They cut through it.
If your dream only tells you what you want to hear, be suspicious.
Spirit rarely panders to your comfort. Rule 5. Remember, dreams are alarms, not destinations.
If you treat a dream as a place to live, you will get addicted.
You'll start chasing visions instead of living life. But dreams are not homes. They're alarms to wake you back into reality. Spirit doesn't care how many visions you collect.
Spirit cares about what you do once you re-awake. So here is my challenge for you.
Next time you dream of a god, don't run to post about it. Don't inflate your ego. Sit with it. Ask, What am I ignoring while awake that spirit had to scream in my sleep? Then make one concrete change the next day.
Even so meeting small.
Because if you don't, spirit will have to escalate again. And trust me, you don't want it to get that far. Here's the witch's rage quote for part 2. Dreams of gods are not your trophies. They are your wake-up calls. Don't collect them, act on them. Witch's Rage Series number 10. Part 1. I've practiced for years but no progress. How many times have I heard this? Witch, I've been practicing for years, meditating, chanting, attending workshops, but my life is still a mess.
I'm still angry, still lonely, still lost.
Why haven't I made progress? And every time, I want to slam the table. Because here's the truth, it's not that you haven't made progress, it's that you haven't been practicing at all. You've been performing.
Let me tell you what I say over and over.
People sit cross-legged for hours, proud of their meditation streak. But when they stand up, they yell at their partner, ignore their kids, and snap at their co-workers. So what exactly did that meditation change? Nothing. It became a stage performance.
That's what I call false practice.
False practice is when you do all the forms, all the rituals, all the spiritual-looking activities, but your heart, your habits, your daily life remain the same. I had a student once who bragged about attending more than 100 workshops. Her bookshelf was stacked with journals full of notes. She had crystals, incense, mala beads, singing bowls, the whole catalog. Her home looked like a spiritual museum. But inside, she was still terrified of being alone, still dependent on other people's approval, still running from her pain. When I asked her, "So what has all this practice given you?" she said, "At least it makes me feel like I'm trying." And I nearly screamed. Because feeling like you're trying is not progress.
Transformation is progress.
That's the poison of false practice. It gives you the illusion of growth without the reality of it.
You feel boozy. You feel spiritual.
You feel self-impressed. But your patterns?
Still the same.
It's like running on a treadmill and calling it travel. You sweat, you move, but you never leave the room. Here's how to spot false practice. If your practice is all about how it looks to others, it's false. If your practice comforts your ego but never challenges it, it's false. If your practice gives you endless feel-good moments, but no real changes in your relationships, choices, or courage, it's false. True practice isn't about building a spiritual identity.
It's about dismantling the lease you life in.
And here's the part that really pisses me off.
People confuse comfort for progress.
They cry during a meditation retreat, feel uplifted, and think, "Wow, I've healed." But then they go home, and within a week, they're screaming at their mom again.
Crying isn't healing.
Feeling emotional isn't growth. Real practice shows up in how you treat people, how you face challenges, how you live when no one is watching.
I also told a man,
"Your 2 hours of chanting don't impress me.
show me who you talk to your wife. Show me who you rest when things don't go your way. Show me who you life when you're uncomfortable."
That's where practice counts.
Because true practice will test you where it hurts most.
It doesn't protect you from life. It trains you to face life differently. So when people say, "I've been practicing for years, but no progress," I tell them, you haven't been practicing, you've been performing. You've been busy entertaining yourself instead of transforming yourself. And that's the rage in part 1. False practice is the biggest spiritual trap. It convinces you that busyness equals growth. But until you change, you haven't practiced. You've only performed.
Witchsragequote.
You don't prove your practice by how long you meditate or how many workshops you attend. You prove it by how you live when life tests you. Witch's Rage Series number 10. Part 2. Practice is not a show, it's transformation. Last time, I tore apart the illusion of false practice, the rituals, the crystals, the endless workshops that look impressive but change nothing. So now, let's talk about the opposite. What does real practice look like? How do you know you're not just performing for yourself, but actually changing? First truth, real practice will make you uncomfortable. I need you to burn that into your brain. Because too many people think spirituality should always feel good, calm, blissful, full of light. But real growth? It will drag out the parts of you you'd rather hide.
It will expose your jealousy, your fears, your Rage, your dependence.
If your so-called practice only ever gives you comfort and never confrontation, it's not practice, it's therapy light, it's emotional sugar. Real practice will make you squirm.
It will show you your shadows.
And that's the point.
Because you can't heal what you won't face.
Second truth, real practice is measured in daily life, not ceremony. This is the biggest test. Forget your meditation cushion.
Forget your altar. Forget the retreat high.
Ask yourself, when my partner irritates me, do I explode like I used to, or can I breathe before I respond?
Wen vier koms, du I kollaps, or ken I stand a little talatan before?
When life slams me, do I run away, or do I face it with honesty? That's the scoreboard.
Not visions.
Not chanting hours. Not spiritual aesthetics. Your real practice is revealed in how you live, not how you pose. Third truth, real practice makes you more real, not more perfect. Some of you think enlightenment means you'll never get angry again, never cry, never make mistakes.
That's fantasy.
Even saints weep.
Even masters stumble.
The difference is this: when you practice truly, you stop pretending. You stop hiding behind masks. You can admit, yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm afraid. Yes, I failed. And still, I'm here, choosing truth. False practice tries to polish you into a statue. Real practice lets you be human, messy, emotional, alive, but conscious and honest. Let me give you an example. One of my students used to collapse whenever criticized.
Chet hide, CRY, retreat vorwegs.
After years of practice, nothing changed. She kept attending retreats, seeking validation from teachers, but still broke down in the same way. Finally, I challenged her. Real practice means the next time someone criticizes you, you don't collapse.
You breate. You feel the sting.
But you stay present.
You don't run.
Months later, she came back and told me, it hurt, but I didn't hide. I stayed. I even answered calmly. And I said, that's practice.
That's progress.
Not the hours on the cushion, not the pile of notebooks, but that one moment in daily life where she chose differently. Fourth truth, real practice has no shortcut.
This is the one people hatte most. Because we live in a culture addicted to instant gratification.
We want enlightenment like we want fast food, quick, easy, guaranteed. But true practice doesn't work like that. It's not glamorous. It's messy. It's slow. It's showing up again and again, even when you fail, even when you don't feel anything, even when it's boring. Progress doesn't announce itself with fireworks.
It whispers.
It shows up in tiny choices, choosing honesty over lies, patience over rage, courage over escape. Over time, those choices rewire your life.
So how do you escape false practice?
Simple, but not easy. Be brutally honest with yourself. Ask, am I doing this practice because it looks good or because it changes me? Ask, do I only practice when it feels nice, or do I keep going when it's hard? Ask, have my relationships, my reactions, my courage actually shifted, or am I just collecting spiritual toys? If the answer hurts, good.
That's the crack where real practice begins.
Let me finish with this. Spirituality isn't a costume you wear.
It's a backbone you grow.
If your practice doesn't change the way you live, it's not practice, it's theater. So stop chasing workshops, stop hoarding crystals, stop worshipping the high of retreats. Instead, look at yourself in the mirror of daily life. That's where real practice proves itself.
Quote. Real practice does and make you perfect.
It makes you honest. It shows in your choices, not your rituals. Witches Rage Series number 11. Part 1. Emotions are obstacles? No.
Avoidance is.
How many times have I heard this excuse? Which, I think my emotions are blocking my spiritual progress. Every time I get angry, sad, or anxious, I feel like I'm failing. Maybe my emotions are obstacles. maybe they're demons trying to drag me down. And every time I hear this, I want to shout, no, your emotions are not the obstacle. Your refusal to face them is. The spiritual world loves to sell this fantasy, that a real practitioner is always calm, always peaceful, always smiling like a poster of a saint on the wall. People think enlightenment means becoming an emotionless robot, floating above all pain.
So wehen real human feelings show up, Rage, Grief, Fear, Panik.
They think, oh no, I'm impure. I'm possessed by low vibrations.
I must be cursed.
And this is where the damage happens. Because once you believe emotions are the enemy, you start suppressing them. You push them down, fake a smile, chant affirmations you don't believe, force positive vibes.
On the outside, you look serene.
Inside, you're cracking.
Let me tell you a story. A woman also came to me sobbing.
She said, I've been practicing for years, but I still cry, I still get angry, I still feel anxious. Maybe I'm possessed. Maybe these emotions are proof that I'm unworthy. And I looked at her and thought, here is a soul who has been bullied by the spiritual nonsense she swallowed. Her tears weren't proof of failure. They were proof of honesty. Her anger wasn't demonic. It was a signal her boundaries were violated. Her anxiety wasn't impurity. It was her body screaming for safety. But because she labeled all of it as obstacles, she tried to silence them. And the more she silenced them, the louder they became. That's the truth about emotions. They are signals, not enemies. Anger says, a boundary has been crossed. Sadness says, something precious has been lost. Fear says, there's danger here. Anxiety says, you've been trying to control too much.
When you suppress these messengers, you don't get peace, you get chaos.
Because the signals don't vanish. They just rot underground until they erupt like a volcano.
Here is what infuriates me.
So many spiritual circles preach high vibes only.
Te demonize anger, grief, despair, anything.
And people eat this up, thinking the path to enlightenment is pretending to be happy all the time. But you can't fake your way to freedom.
You can't bypass the storm.
A real path doesn't erase your emotions, it teaches you to walk with them. And let's be honest, your emotions are not the problem. Your judgment of them is.
Every time you feel so uncomfortable, you attack yourself.
I shouldn't feel this.
I'm failing.
I'm weak. But what if you stopped labeling? What if you simply said, this is anger, this is grief,
this is fear.
Not good, not bad, just signals. I'll tell you what the real obstacle is, avoidance. Avoidance is the demon in disguise. It whispers, don't look at this pain. Don't admit this anger.
Don't see these tears.
Avoidance convinces you that denial is strength, but denial is the cage. I've seen people smile their way into breakdowns. I've seen positive thinkers collapse into depression because they refused to let themselves grieve.
That's what happens when you fight your own humanity.
So let me burn this into your ears. Emotions are not your enemies. They are your teachers. They're not here to derail you. They're here to reveal you. If you dare to face them, they'll guide you deeper into yourself. But if you keep running, they'll turn into chains. That's the rage of part 1.
Stop blaming emotions.
Stop calling them obstacles. They are part of your humanity, part of your path. The only real obstacle is your refusal to feel.
Witchsragequote.
Emotions are not demons.
Avoidance is.
The moment you face your anger, grief, and fear, they stop being chains and start becoming teachers. Witches Rage Series number 11. Part 2, Turning Emotions into Teachers. Last time, I ripped apart the lie that emotions are obstacles. They're not demons. They're signals. The real obstacle is avoidance. So now let's go further. How do you actually work with emotions so they become your allies, not your enemies? Step 1, allow yourself to feel.
Sounds simple, right?
But it's the hardest step for most people. The moment anger rises, you attack yourself. I shouldn't feel this, I'm failing spiritually.
The moment grief hits, you panic. I must be weak. I should be stronger.
The moment fear creeps in, you shove it down and pretend it's not there. But listen, you cannot heal what you refuse to feel. Allowing emotion doesn't mean indulging it. It means giving it space.
Ven rage koms, breate ensei, I am angry. Ven grief koms, whisper, I am sad.
When fear comes, admit, I am afraid. This honesty is not weakness.
It's the doorway. Step 2. Decode the message. Evere emotion carries information.
It's not random. It's not meaningless. Anger says, something violated my boundaries. Grief says, something I value is gone. Fear says, something feels dangerous. Anxiety says, I'm overloaded, trying to control too much. When you name the messenger, you can ask, what is this emotion trying to show me? Suddenly, emotion becomes a compass instead of a curse. Step 3. Choose conscious action.
This is where practice meets life.
It's not about erasing emotion, but choosing what you do with it.
Anger døsend min ju punchvals.
It means you learn to speak boundaries clearly.
Grief døsend min ju drown forever.
It means you let yourself mourn and honor what was lost.
Fear døsend min ju paralyse.
It means you take smaller steps with awareness. When you act with awareness inside the storm becomes training.
Let me give you a story.
One of my students used to collapse whenever sadness came. She'd hide in her room, ashamed of her tears. She believed sadness made her spiritually weak. But I taught her to stay with her tears, to ask, what are you mourning? And she realized every tear was tied to her childhood, years of feeling unseen, unloved. Once she saw that, the tears stopped being shame. They became medicine. Each cry was a thread sewing her back together.
Tatze Transformation.
Sadness didn't block her practice. Sadness was the practice.
Step 4. Stop chasing eternal calm.
This is the fantasy that ruins so many seekers. They think enlightenment means they'll never feel pain again, never get angry again, never cry again.
Wrong. Enlightenment døsend mean no emotions.
It means no fear of emotions.
When you're sad, you let yourself be sad without judgment.
When you're angry, you allow it without shame. When you're joyful, you receive it fully without waiting for it to vanish. That's freedom, not emptiness, but spaciousness. Step 5. Remember, the storm is part of the path. You don't transcend emotions by killing them. You transcend by walking with them, by seeing through them, by learning from them. Think of emotions as weather.
Anger is thunder. Sadness is rain.
Fear is fog.
Joy is Sonnenlicht.
None of them last forever.
None of them define the sky.
But each of them teaches you something about how to navigate. The real mastery is not avoiding storms, it's learning to sail through them without sinking. So here's what I want you to take away. Emotions are not obstacles. They are textbooks written by your soul. If you avoid them, you fail the class. If you face them, you graduate stronger. Let me finish with this story. I once worked with a man who was terrified of his anger. He suppressed it for years, thinking it was unspiritual. Then one day, it exploded. He hurt people he loved, and he was devastated. But in that devastation, he finally admitted, I need to face my anger, not bury it. He started practicing mindful expression, writing, breathing, setting boundaries. Slowly, his anger stopped being a bomb. It became fuel for his courage. That's the secret. When faced, emotions transform. They stop being monsters in the dark and become allies in the light.
Witchsragequote.
Your emotions are not obstacles on the path. They are the path. Avoid them and they chain you. Face them and they guide you. Closing, Witches Rage Series #08, #11. So here we are, at the end of this chapter of the Witches Rage series. We've walked through 4 illusions, 4 excuses people use to hide from themselves. You said you were disconnected from spirit, but the truth is, you disconnected from yourself. You said your dream of a god was a blessing, when in fact, it was an alarm. You said years of practice brought you no progress, because you were performing, not transforming. You said emotions were obstacles, when really, avoidance was the obstacle all along. Do you see the pattern? None of these were punishments. None of them meant you were cursed, abandoned, or unworthy. They were mirrors, showing you exactly where you've been asleep. The rage in these episodes is not to shame you. It's to shake you.
Because comfort won't wake you. Ego strokes won't save you.
But clarity, even if it stings, has the power to set you free. So if anything from these 4 episodes stays with you, let it be this.
Spirit never abandoned you.
Your dreams are not trophies. Practice is not a show. Emotions are not demons. Your soul is still here,
waiting for you to wake up.
And when you finally do, when you stop numbing, stop bragging, stop performing, stop avoiding, that's when real magic begins. I'm the Witch, and this has been Witch's Rage series, episodes 8 through 11.
Stay awake. Stay honest.
And remember, the most powerful spell you'll ever cast is how you choose to live your life.